They knew it would be that day. It is impossible to follow the fortunes of a battle closely without knowing when they are reaching their conclusion, especially when that battle concerns the city in which you live. They had fought off the army as long as they were able. They had the advantage to begin with. The walls were high, the ramparts thick. As the army worked below, filling the ravine with boulders and felled trees, they hurled down rocks and arrows upon them. They worked in shifts, night and day, pulling the matter out of the moat by the cellar doors as quickly as it was placed there. They struggled, but they were undone by God. The Lord commanded them to rest on the holy Sabbath. On this day the besieging enemy was able to gain ground. Week by week, Sabbath by Sabbath, cubit by cubit, the ravine was filled in. They worked double time, but it was not enough. The invading army worked harder. They saw that soon the ravine would be so full of debris that a platform could be erected on it, the ladders could be raised, and battering rams employed. On the day that the platforms went down, they knew the end was coming. They were not afraid. Fear would be a long time coming still. They had not yet seen starvation leading to cannibalism, to murder, to infanticide. Instead of fear, they were angry. They occupied a land between the river and the sea. It was a necessary foothold for anyone hoping to hold this region. They happened to stand in the way. It seemed wrong to them that the world should operate in such a manner. They raised angry cries to the Lord. In the temple, the high priest heard the battering ram pounding on the city wall night and day now. Each resounding bang did little damage by itself. A small amount of dust, perhaps a tiny shift in one of the stones. Accumulating, night and day, those cedars, twice as thick as the arm span of a man, would destroy the wall. The people could see the stones being bowed inward. It was just before dawn when the first stone fell. It was towards the base of the wall, not quite at the bottom, and in the glittering early morning light the motes of dust around it seemed to shimmer as it tumbled, as it crashed to the ground. When it fell, there was a silence in the city. Outside, the soldiers whooped and shouted and redoubled their efforts. But for a moment, inside the city, there was only an astonished horror. They had known it must come, and yet had not believed it until they saw. The impregnable wall was breached. Then there were cries. Bring men, bring fire, bring swords, keep the invaders back. Inside the temple, the young priests ran towards their master, crying out what they had heard. The high priest watched them run, their robes flapping, their feet slipping on the blood-slick floor. He knew what they had come to tell him. Everyone in the city knew what it meant that the great banging had ceased. Were the sacrifices needed less now? Did the people no longer need to be brought close to God to understand the shortness of their own lives? He listened to their breathless words. One pleaded with him to leave the temple. Another demanded that all the able-bodied young priests should take arms. A third suggested that they go out to meet the conqueror with a show of welcome. The conqueror was coming, he repeated. He was making for the temple. The high priest said to them, 2 lambs without blemish, 1 in the morning, 1 at dusk. Together with a grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, this is the burnt offering instituted at Sinai, an offering to the Lord. They became quiet. But, protested one, the conqueror is coming. He approaches. The others silenced him, stiffening their spines and pulling their robes around them. They hurried to their duties, their hands and legs knowing the ritual even as their minds blew here and there. This one began to burn the incense, that one to clean the ashes, those began to lay fresh wood. As the sun rose above the horizon, they slew the lamb. They scattered its blood. Some of the priests were silently weeping. They could all hear the shouting outside the gates of the temple.